Hello, my name is Carolyn Ryder and I work on the project management team here at Prestige Employee Administrators. I'm going to be providing a brief overview of the Prestige Pro employee onboarding system. The first step of employee onboarding starts when the employee receives their Prestige Pro welcome email. This email provides the employee with a link to register and log into the Prestige Pro onboarding, some simple instructions on the onboarding process, as well as the link to the USCIS website with the list of acceptable documents to complete Form I-9. When the employee clicks the link at the top of the screen, it brings them to the Prestige Pro login screen where they're able to register using their last name and social security number. The username and password that the employee creates will be their username and password for employee self-service going forward, so the employee should retain that information for future login. When the employee logs in, they're brought to the Prestige Pro welcome page, which provides a brief description of the Prestige client relationship, as well as the list of all forms to be completed during the employee onboarding process. These forms are populated based on the client company, the worksite location, and for tax forms, the worksite location and resident address of the employee. To begin onboarding, the employee will click Get Started in the right side of the screen. The first step of the employee onboarding process is to complete Form I-9. Certain fields on Form I-9 you'll see are labeled Enter NA if none. These fields must be completed and the system will not let you move forward without completing those fields. The employee will confirm their citizenship status and digitally sign Form I-9 and confirm if they did use a preparer or translator to complete this form. The employee will have the opportunity to review the completed first page of the I-9 based on the information that they provided on the previous screens. If everything on this form looks correct based on what the employee has provided, they can click Submit and Continue. The next step of the process is to complete any employee information. This information pulls from what the employee entered on the I-9. The only field here that must be completed is gender, as this is required for benefit purposes. All other fields will be populated based on what was previously entered. The employee information also includes the resident address. The system checks and verifies that the address input is a valid address. And you can confirm, yes, this is my resident address, or no, and it'll prompt you to verify or edit your address. And then you'll click Next. You'll have the option as well to put in a separate mailing address if you use a PO box or have a separate forwarding address. And then click Next. One emergency contact is required. You can add more than one, but one is required by Prestige. There are 3 voluntary self-identification forms. One is the anti-discrimination notice, one is the veteran status voluntary self-identification, and the last, the disability voluntary self-identification. The wage form that the employee completes during onboarding is populated based on what the employer added when they entered the new hire. So for hourly employees, you'll see the hourly pay rate, the pay frequency, and the overtime rate. Salaried employees will see their salary and the pay frequency as well. The employee will complete the acknowledgement on the bottom of the form and digitally sign the form. The tax forms are populated based on the employee's worksite location and resident address. So the federal tax form will be completed first. You'll confirm that you're continuing the form. You'll have the option to complete the worksheet for this tax form as well. It's not required, but it will prompt you to ask if you'd like to complete it or not. And it'll confirm if you're exempt from withholding. And you'll confirm your allowances and any additional withholdings you may file. Once you've completed all of the federal tax form steps, it'll show you the completed federal tax form with your withholding status and allowances. You'll be able to submit the form and move forward to the state tax forms. During onboarding, you'll also be prompted to complete, if you're a New York employee, the PFL form. You have the option to opt out or not. If you are eligible to opt out, you may. Otherwise, it'll be reviewed during the employee review. For New York State, you'll be completing your employee withholding allowance certificate as well as a certificate of non-residence and allocation of withholding tax forms. You'll complete your filing status, residency status. If you wish to complete the worksheet, you may. The total number of allowances and any additional withholding. And again, you'll have the opportunity to review the completed form before you submit. The New York State, City of New York, and City of Yonkers Certificate of Non-Residence and Allocation of Withholding Tax is the last form in the process. For New York State employees, you'll input the estimate percentage of services being performed in New York State. As a New York State employee, 100% of my services would be completed in New York State. And you'll again see the completed form before you submit. Once the tax forms are submitted, you'll get to the onboarding summary, which will show you all of the forms that have been completed during the onboarding process. The last step is to click continue and submit your onboarding. If you have any questions on Prestige Pro onboarding or you need any assistance, please reach out to your human resources business partner. Thanks. Have a great day.